It's a little bit after 9 o'clock on Wednesday, October 16th. We're going to go ahead and call the weekly meeting of the Logansport Board and Works to order. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ron Miller.
Present.
Mayor Franklin.
Here.
Chris Armstrong.
Here.
Approval of minutes from the October 9th, 2013 meeting.
I've read them. I'd make a motion that we approve the October 9, 2013 minutes as presented.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion?
None.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Next, we have claims in the amount of $179,061.06.
I've reviewed the claims. I would make a motion we approve the claims as presented in the amount of $179,061.06.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
None.
Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. There are no licenses for consideration. Are there any visitor comments? All right. Under old business, this will be code enforcement issues, 628 11th Street.
628 11th Street has been cleared. No further action needed on that.
319 19th Street.
I believe Chris has current pictures as of midday yesterday. No improvement, no changes since last week. Chris, I believe, is very familiar with this one. It's been an ongoing problem. My recommendation would be a cleanup, and just so that you know, it will be a fairly large cleanup.
George? I would call you Mr. Franklin, but there are two of you. Last week, I was not clear on the notice procedures that you used, and we had a meeting after the Board of Works meeting last week where you informed me that you send snail mail and try to notify, I think, one other way before you send certified mail. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so did these people at the 319 19th Street sign for their certified notice of the meeting?
I don't believe they did.
Right, but you've mailed snail mail to them saying they need to take action.
Yes. No, they did not sign for the snail mail. I sent them the first letter advising them. Actually, Chris sent them the first letter advising them of the violation on September the 17th, I believe was the date.
And did that letter tell them to appear at a Board of Works meeting if they chose to contest the order?
The first letter does not tell them to appear. It just gives them a direction to that they have to clean it up. I'm sorry, that letter was on September the 5th.
All right.
September the 17th, certified letter went out to them that they did not sign for.
Did they refuse to sign or just?
They refused to sign. Well, I don't know whether it was sent back unclaimed.
Okay.
All right.
And then at the board's request, I did send them a snail mail letter last week advising them that this was their last letter that they would receive. If they did not respond to that, the property would be cleaned up and a fine would be levied against them.
George, you also had conversation with the gentleman too, didn't you?
Yes, and I had a face-to-face conversation with the gentleman about a week after Chris had sent the initial letter, and he had requested and made the promise then that he would have it resolved within 2 weeks, and there was no action.
Gotcha. I think we made a good record. Thank you.
Okay, I notice a large amount of what would appear to be firewood. Do they heat their home with firewood, or is that all for campfires? Do you know?
This wood has been there since I've been in this position. It has been, I've not seen any movement, any changes in it. You can see the bark's pretty bad on it. The bark's starting to crumble off on it. I don't know if they heat with wood or not.
Okay.
Even if they do, it doesn't meet what the requirement for the ordinance is, that it must be stacked in ricks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the board's pleasure would be on the wood. There's probably a dump truck and a half, maybe even 2 dump truck loads of wood there. It's quite a large amount. Like I said, it's been there It's been there for a very long time.
What's your recommendation?
My recommendation would be a cleanup, including, probably including the wood, just because it's the season that rodents are going to start looking for a place to hibernate and hide, and that's an ideal location for rats and mice.
I think we've given ample notice, certainly opportunity to at least work with us. We always do. Anytime that anybody shows up and promises progress, we allow more time. It seems to be, in this case, that we've, on at least 3 different occasions, if not more, offered to work with them and to advise them and to encourage them to take some kind of action. They obviously have no intention of doing that. So I would make the motion that we order the property cleanup at 319 19th Street.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, I would like to point out, this is kind of an unusual property. If you look at this picture right here, the house to the left, I believe that one is the one that actually holds the address at 319. If you look at the property to the right, directly behind that property is a chain link fence with some ivy growing up in it. Just for clarification, I want the board to understand that this is an L-shaped lot. Even though it appears to stand and look at it, the house to the right, the backyard is part of that house. In reality, it's not. It belongs to 319. So
all the way over to where the fire pit is still in that property?
All the way over to the fire pit, right up to the back of the house that is boarded up, the back door there. So it is an L-shaped lot, and we have gotten clarification that the same gentleman actually owns all 3 of those houses, or the same people, the same family. But notification was sent to 319, which is the one that holds the registration to the L-shaped lot.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. As a point of clarity, in the motion that I made, I would also like to make it clear that the request is for cleanup of the firewood as well.
Yes.
So that's everything on the site. Catch that, Dan? Yes, sir. Firewood as well as the rest of those articles that are there.
And just for additional clarification, I will make it a point to go up before the street department goes up to clean it and make personal contact with them and advise them that we are going to clean it, so that if they have anything of any value, they need to remove it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0.
Next one is 417 Grove Street, which does not appear on the old business. It doesn't appear because after our meeting last week, or during the meeting last week, you had asked that I send Randy a letter to make sure that they had been noticed. And when I got back, I was looking at this one. The people had not signed for this one. They also refused that at 417. I just want to clarify that I do intend to turn that one over this week to the Public Works Department for an abatement.
Okay, put it on the agenda for next week and we'll consider it.
Okay, now I have sent them, I followed the same procedure that I did with the other 2 last week. I sent them the additional letter.
Okay. It's not on today's agenda, so let's hold it till next week.
If that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. 1518, 1520 High Street has been resolved. No further action needed on that one, and I will bring 417 back again next week.
All right, thank you. Under new business, we have a request for the Elks Halloween Parade. Rick Hopper. Rick's very familiar with this. We do this every year. Looks, paperwork appears to be in order. The insurance, proof of insurance is there. Chief Clark, do you have anything you would like to add regarding the Elks Parade? Will you be an active participant again? Yes. Okay. I'd make the motion that we approve the parade to be held on Tuesday, October 29th, regarding the Halloween parade that's hosted by the Elks.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. 17th Annual Turkey Trot. Aye. I'd make the motion that we approve the request from the YMCA to host the 17th Annual Turkey Trot to be held on November 28th between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 a.m.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Thank you for having your paperwork in order. That's always the hang-up. A lot of requests, but very few follow through with the paperwork. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Curb cut, 603 South Main Street.
Thank you.
Request for a curb cut by NIPSCO, grass area south of Main Street, approximately 251 feet east of Hamilton Street on the south side of Main Street in the grass right-of-way. This will be, this will provide service to the new Dollar General store that's being built on Main Street. Dan, they're not going to break the road at all, will they, with this?
That's my understanding.
It all remains in the grassy right-of-way? Okay. I'd make the motion that we approve the curb cut, even though it doesn't sound like they're cutting the curb.
Yep, second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. That's for 603 South Main Street. We also have another request for a curb cut from NIPSCO at 116 14th Street. We're going to retire a gas service. Have to cut the curb. Dan?
Yes, sir.
Can I get you to come up? Thank you. I know we had this discussion, but I'm not sure that we're actually conveying it to these people who make these requests. When there's a request like this, do we provide these people with our development manual to return the street to the condition that it was prior to the cut? And the reason I ask is because we seem to be breaking into a lot of streets. The repairs made, it's basically filled full of dirt, and then there's some asphalt thrown on top of that, and within a month or two we have a big mud puddle with a weak spot in the road, and I'm sure that the standard states to the degree of the repair, and I believe it calls for the use of gravel, compacted dirt, and then gravel, and then concrete, and then asphalt.
Asphalt or cement.
Asphalt or
You
cement.
can't- The top layer can be cement.
Okay. So the question is, are these different entities, utilities, aware of the development manual and the standard, and who follows up with that?
That, in order for that project to be completed, the street commissioner has to sign off on any project where they dig the street up.
Okay. So do you actually physically go out and inspect this before the asphalt, before the final finished layer is applied?
To be truthful with you, after you brought it to my attention, I have been doing that, which is the last 2 weeks. Prior to that, no, sir, I have not.
Okay. So I guess the point is, moving forward from here, they know they're aware of the development manual and the repair standards for the street. What we're running into is...
Yes, sir, I understand that, and I over at the new Dollar General, they've been very helpful. I was over there when they cut it. They showed me what they're putting back in, and the top will be cement. I didn't feel like asphalt was the proper thing, and they agreed to put cement back in.
Okay.
And I will, each one of these, follow up from now on. I didn't know that was common. But to answer your question, each contractor should go get the development manual from
Okay.
LMU. They have it or we have it, and it should be followed.
Okay. With those reassurances, I would make the motion that we approve the curb cut for 116 14th Street requested by NIPSCO.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Emmaus Mission Center, Jason Mitchell for a 5K run for the homeless. Is anybody here for Emmaus? Don't see anybody. Paperwork appears to be in order. This will be held between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. I'm sorry, the streets would be closed between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. on December 31st. I think we've been working with Emmaus, and Jim Austin has been the spearhead of this. I'd make the motion that we approve the request by Emmaus Mission Center as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Building Commissioners report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I had submitted my report for your review. If you have any questions, I can take those questions now. I did have one order to appear, a property owner at 1331 North Street, a Mr. Stephen Wayne True, I believe is how you pronounce that last name.
Truax. Or,
Truax?
yeah.
Okay. I do not believe he is here. Just a little bit of explanation with that is when we had determined that we had to create a new rental property registry, we went forward with mailing notifications to people who own property but were not occupying the property. And simple evaluation is we assumed it was a rental. Once those individuals got the letters, they would either clarify it was not a rental, a family member was living there, or if it was a rental, they would come in and they would complete the registration application. As this letter states, in May of this year, we sent Mr. Truax a letter notifying him of that need. He never responded to the letter. And then as a course of business, then we follow up with another letter requesting that if they do not contact us within 10 days, that they will receive a third letter notifying they have to attend the Board of Public Works for reasons of providing explanation why they now have to register it as a rental. This property, 1331, is adjacent to our property, 1327, which we had condemned last week and vacated the property because someone was living there with no utilities on inside the home. So now we have two residences on the same block that have been vacant or have not had any utilities, at least, in them for over 6 months. So with Mr. Truax, at this point, I will move forward and send him notification based on our vacant and abandoned building ordinance that he has 30 days to register, and then if it does not, then we'll move to the next step as allowed in that ordinance.
Okay. Are you Stephen? No? Okay. Is there anybody here representing Stephen? All right, here. Randy, do we need to take action on his recommendation?
No? I think that we can wait till the...
Just part of the report?
Right.
Okay. I would make the motion that we accept the building commissioner's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Next is Code Enforcement Officer.
Good morning again. You have in front of you my submitted report for your review and approval. I did have 5 property owners ordered to appear today. None of them are here. However, 4 of the 5 have been abated and the problem is resolved. No further action will be needed. 715 North 5th Street, no action has been taken on that. I would request that the board have me send one final notice and put it back on the agenda for next week. I believe that Chris has a picture of the problem also. It would be the sofa and living room furniture that is on the front porch.
These three are, this one's not.
You got it.
Okay, I would make the motion that we accept your recommendation as presented, and we'll go ahead and clear Daisy Street, Garfield Street, Montgomery Street, and Race Street, with continuing action on 715 North 5th Street. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the building commission, the code enforcement officer's report as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passed on a vote of 3-0. Thank you. Superintendent of Public Works.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I respectively submit my report for the Public Works Department for the City of Logansport. Hopefully you have a few minutes to go through that. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, I'd be glad to address them.
What is a thermo rail crossing?
It comes pre-packaged, like it's for a better, lack of a better term of explaining, it's plastic, and we actually heat that and put it down, and it lasts like
It says
100
rail
times
crossing.
longer than
Yeah.
paint.
It melts into the road.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
And incidentally, we did get a grant for that, and once it's complete, which it is now, all the money we spent on that will be reimbursed.
I make the motion that we accept the superintendent of public works report as presented.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, pass it on a vote of 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Clark.
Morning.
Good morning.
The only thing I have to report, last Saturday, we started the fiscal agility for a new hiring process to try and get up to full staff. We started with 30 applicants. We lost some through the fiscal agility. We lost a couple in the written test, and we're now down to 9. So we're going to proceed with that. An update on the probationary officer we have at the police academy. He'll graduate November 1st, and we'll have him back the following Monday to start the FTO program with the department.
How many vacancies do you have now?
We currently have 2.
2. So 2 out of the 9. Is that correct? You have nine possibilities and you have 2 openings.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I make the motion that we accept the chief's report as presented. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
We accept that report on a vote of 3-0. Fire chief. Got nothing. Okay. Mark, can you tell us about, just a little bit about the complaint that I forwarded to you from the council meeting on Monday night?
Yes, sir. Good morning. We had some, I believe it's Frontiers working here in town, and they had some compressed air tanks they were using to put air down into the manholes or something. Anyway, the way they secured them was improper on LMU pole, and others were laying on the ground, and so we've had a hard time trying to get through the red tape to get to the right people, but finally the manager from Lafayette area, which must enclose Logansport, called me back last night about 5 something and left a message that they would be taken care of today.
Okay.
So,
Any more questions for the chief? I make a motion that we, I guess there's no report to present. Thank you for the update.
thank you.
Are there any board member comments?
No.
Miscellaneous business, including ADA Section 504 compliance and concerns, or any other matters not already considered? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.